Yeah, this could be bad.
This could be really bad.
Oop! Yipes! I think we just lost power.
Oh, no, no. Okay, well, before anything else goes wrong, will Apple actually pay for exclusive to its platform podcasts, Angry Canadians over batteries, and Apple quietly removes Zoom and Zoom like web servers all tonight, maybe, on the Mac to the Future livecast. And I don't care if it's both of us right now. Yeah, things are not going well here. Things are just bouncing. They're bouncing all over the place, and I don't know what else to do. There is just all kinds of crazy crap going on. I am your reluctant host apparently tonight. My name is Guy Serle, and my lower thirds isn't showing up either. So there's that, and I am joined tonight, probably somewhat reluctantly as well, by Mr. Warren Sklar. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm a little nervous. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah,
We might be
things are.
running. I know what everything just kind of flickered. I think we might be running on generator, but it's hard to tell in the office. We're having a big storm just rolling by now.
Yeah, we were having
That
some
could be
issues with that earlier,
could be a
so I guess
storm.
this is probably the same storm.
Yeah, I guess so. It's coming this way. I think I just heard it felt like a tornado. All right.
Oh, good.
Well, let's
So
yeah,
we're just gonna
let's
jump real quick to
yeah,
different things,
yeah,
and
yeah.
hopefully, oh look, now it's working. So yay! Quick takes. Apple is exploring different manufacturing areas with an AirPod plant in Vietnam. Uh, I think we had talked about this a couple of weeks ago with tariffs and everything else, and I think Apple is mostly just trying to make sure they don't have all their eggs in one big Chinese basket, so to speak. So yeah, that's that. Oh, and Warren, you will be delighted. You know what today is, Warren?
No,
Well, besides being, of course, July 17th, it is
that's still
World
there.
Emoji Day.
Emoji day. I did hear this. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So
So,
let's
I
put
heard
some
about
emojis in the
this.
chat room.
I
Hold
was
on. We gotta take.
actually I was actually very excited and moved by this.
We we got things I gotta do.
No, I was not.
Okay.
I was
There's
okay with
that.
it.
No,
What's
I'm
wrong?
putting emojis in our. I'm putting
Oh,
emojis in our chat room.
oh, good,
I don't know.
because that's what
There's
we
got to be
need.
a. Oh, this is a good one. There you go. The thunderstorm one. There
Yeah,
we go.
that's what's going on right
That's right.
now.
Actually, oh,
Apple's
oh,
new
there's.
credit card, Warren, is this close to release. Are you going to get one?
Yeah, I'll get one
Yeah, why not?
just for the bling of it.
The coolness factor
Yeah.
of that titanium credit card, or whatever the heck they're making
Strangely
it out
enough,
of.
I have an American Express Gold card that's
Yeah.
the same. It's made of metal. It's the heaviest. It's one of the heaviest things I've ever seen for
Is it?
a
It's
credit
actually
card. It's
made of metal.
yeah.
'Cause
So
I
it's not
remember my father
Apple's.
had a gold card,
Yeah, they change them.
and it was
So we
just
have the gold
plastic.
card. Yeah, I'm not gonna get it now, but this one is heavy metal, and it's so Apple is definitely not the first
What is it?
ones to do it. Heavy metal,
It's
rock
heavy metal. Rock
on!
on. All right, that's
Are
going to
we
be a
ready to rock?
that'll be a continuing theme. All right, last up,
So,
Google boots one of their developers for drowning users with ads.
what?
Yeah, I
Oh,
know. Related app
okay.
that this developer is killing people with ads. It doesn't even have to be active, and the device could be asleep, and it'll still serve up ads. So yeah, Google was like, no, I don't think so. We're going to throw you out.
Mm,
Stewart says his Amazon Prime card has a thick metal middle. People say that about me. I have a big, thick
So do I.
middle. Okay. We have 3 stories tonight. Apple's exclusive podcast deals. This is a story out of TechCrunch. With an app to be dedicated to podcasts in the next version of the Mac OS and improvements in other aspects of podcast creation like better analytics, there is some talk that Apple is quietly buying the rights to exclusive podcasts. This will not be one of them. The report says that Apple has been quietly talking to some companies that produce audio content for just such an endeavor, and that as other companies like Spotify and Stitcher are paying to exclusively stream some of their more popular content. Some of these content producing companies are also in talks to create television shows based on their properties, which could help the as yet meager announcements for Apple TV Plus. So, what do you think about, it just seems like this is like another paywall for content, that if you don't belong to Spotify or Stitcher or Podcast Plus or whatever Apple is calling it, then you can't hear or see those podcasts.
Well, it depends on what they do. It depends if they
Kind of
do
seems
this
like
and
that's what
then,
they're doing.
well, no, follow me along. It's if they start doing this and take a subset of existing podcasts out there and say this is going to be behind the paywall, that's bad. If they start doing this and say, well, going forward, these new podcasts will be behind the paywall and the old ones won't, that's not so bad. That's the difference between CBS and HBO. You're paying for something, you're paying for a
Unless,
premium product.
well, I mean, you've got, what the hell is it that CBS has that you could only watch
The all
Discovery
access, but
from?
that's
Yeah.
yeah, that's the all access. But that's different. I'm talking about like CBS on your TV now. If they're going to try to monetize on existing podcasts, the popular ones, then that's a
Again,
bad
not
move.
this podcast.
No, you never know. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Um,
The MyMac
but
podcast is pretty popular, and I actually get the feeling that because Tim Robertson owns that show. Even though Gaz and I are doing it, that's Tim Robertson's proprietary content. He created that show. That's his show.
right,
I certainly, if I owned a show like that was popular enough to warrant somebody coming in and saying, we're going to pay you X number of dollars to make this podcast exclusive to Apple or Spotify or Stitcher or whoever, you'd be a fool not to take that money.
oh yeah. So that's good for podcasters for good shows.
Well, as long as the people that enjoy your podcast currently are on that same platform, sure. But
That's
it's
what
like
they're
if people were
that's what they're
watching
banking on.
where was Game of Thrones? Was that Showtime?
HBO.
HBO. Like if Game of Thrones suddenly went from HBO to Showtime, all the people
Hmm.
that are on HBO but not on Showtime could now no longer watch that show.
Right.
But of course, I don't think any podcast that I'm involved in is going to have to worry about that. So moving
I
on,
mean, I'm
because
not. I listen to a couple, but I don't think there's any podcast personally that I would pay for. I you know, some are entertaining, but podcast is sort of it's it's not it's
well,
something I could give
it's
up
not.
in my life.
Yeah,
It's something it's one of those things where you could have you could listen to a podcast. You're paying $10. You could either listen to a podcast or watch HBO or listen to Apple Music or something like that. Podcast is going to be low on the list of what I'm going to do. Mostly because a lot of the information is out there elsewhere. I mean, people are just talking about current topics. Plenty of
sure.
print, plenty plenty of print options out there. A lot of places,
Is
don't
that thunder right
even,
here?
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna die. I'm telling you,
Live on this stream. I'm
yeah,
actually excited. I'm like watching and going, yeah, you could die.
I could die if I go under the desk. There you go. Anyway, so let's my feeling about podcasts.
Okay, you want to move on to angry Canadians?
I think we should move as fast as possible.
I just saw the lights flicker. Angry Canadians. The story over in Apple Insider. A Quebec court has ruled that a class action lawsuit over Apple's batteries in its products can continue. The big question is, what is a reasonable amount of time that a battery should hold a reasonable charge? The lawsuit, which is to incorporate nearly all of Apple's battery-powered devices, may hinge on the court's interpretation of what reasonable means. Apple probably hasn't done itself any favors by making the batteries not easily replaceable in practically every single device that they own. Yeah, I don't, I think the thing that surprises me the most about this is that it's coming from Canada.
Oh yeah, and they're angry.
And well,
have you ever? And Canadians don't get angry. How can you tell if a Canadian's angry? They use the word
eyes,
darn.
Yeah. Oh darn. Oh crap. Oh, hold on there. Hold on. Oh wait a second now.
You darn listen to me.
I battery, told you.
My battery in my phone is not lasting as long as it used to.
Hey.
I was trying to get. I actually watched Strange Brew last week. I really did. Not unrelated to the story.
Yeah, and not ironically.
No, it was great. They weren't talking about. I don't think they had phone batteries back then.
Well, and the weird thing is, growing up in South Florida, I mean, we had a lot of Canadian tourists that would come down, and I have to say that in all the years in various service industry jobs that I had in South Florida, I never saw an angry Canadian ever.
No, they don't get angry.
So stoic and so just willing to bend over backwards to make the best out of a bad situation. And in Florida, things can go badly really quick.
Maple syrup and beer is the secret to life.
Well, do you think that in order to appease, because I mean, this isn't the only lawsuit, not necessarily related directly to batteries, but related to some of the proprietary and closed nature of some of Apple's products, that especially now that Johnny Ive is no longer there, that they may do some redesigns and make it easier for people to get into their stuff?
No, never. No.
Okay.
No. Apple's not doing that. They'll never do that. They're going to continue doing what they're doing.
But they have to follow court rulings. So if a Canadian court basically says you can't sell a phone here in Canada unless the user can access and change out the batteries, then that's what Apple has to do, or not sell phones in Canada.
Yeah, it will take one bad battery replacement and like a Samsung phone to catch on fire in Canadian air at the Canadian airport for them to say, you know what, maybe we won't let you change your batteries out. It's not going to happen.
Okay.
It's a safety issue. It is a safety issue. People playing with the batteries of their phones is a safety issue. And
did you see the video? Oh my God, of this guy?
The girls.
No, he was trying to change out his battery, and I guess he bit into it, and it then he set it down on the counter, and it exploded there on the counter.
Yeah, no, I saw that one. And then there was another one with some girl who had an exploding iPhone or something like that. But yeah people are, and Apple's going to continue. They'll improve battery performance, and they'll make things thinner and lighter, and it's going to continue on that way. And Apple's definitely not the only. They're definitely not the only company that makes products with batteries that can't be replaced. So,
but they were like one of the first. It's more like, especially with Android, with smartphones, it seems that Apple comes out with some something about the latest iPhone, and everyone just loses their mind over it, whether it's a vanishing audio port or changing over from 30 pin to lightning or possibly lightning to USB-C, and everybody just yells and screams and rants and raves, oh, could Apple do this? And then within 2 years, every single Android phone is pretty much doing the same thing. It was like the stupid bump that was on the back of the phone for the camera.
Yeah.
Or the notch. Yeah. How many Android phones have we now seen with notches?
Right. Well,
not nachos. That's completely different.
My phone has nachos.
You can order nachos on your phone.
You know what this is? Not your phone.
It's not.
It's not your phone. It's not your phone, man. It's mine.
It's my phone.
My phone. It's not yours. Not yours. It's not yours phone.
This is the last story for tonight. This is going to be a relatively short show because Warren is looking up at the sky like I'm going to die at any moment now. It's getting bad.
Actually might.
Okay.
Yes.
Last
story.
Where is Frank? Where are you commenting from? Are you commenting from my page or Mac the Future or someplace else?
North Jersey.
North of Jersey. Okay. Well, that's good to know. All right. Last story for the evening. Apple is Zooming updates. This is from Daring Fireball. Web conferencing company Zoom just has to be hating life right now. Their web server that's installed in every device that uses their software is vulnerable to outsiders, making it easy for them to access webcams and microphones built into those devices. Their original fix wasn't good enough for Apple, so Apple did what's called a silent update to remove those web servers. Some have said that the cure, though, is as bad as the disease, since no user interaction is required for Apple to make these changes, although you can disable this as well in system preferences in the software update section. And it's not even the end of the story, because some of Zoom's white label partners, and white label partners are companies that use the same technology as Zoom, like RingCentral and Zoomoo, are also vulnerable. Apple's malware removal tool update 1.46 now removes vulnerable web servers for Zoom, RingCentral, Telus Meetings, BT Cloud Phone Meetings, Office Suite HD Meetings, AT&T Video Meetings, BizConf, Hi, I don't know what that means, UMeeting, Zoomoo, and Zoom CN.
Bless you.
Yeah, this is like a serious black eye to this company. The fact the fact that they tried to kind of play it off when it first broke with their CEO kind of just going, yeah, okay, it's no big deal, we'll take care of that. And apparently a lot of people did think it was a big deal.
I mean, it wasn't fun. It basically installed any computer, Windows or Mac or something like that, can install a web service or web server on the computer. And basically what it does is it makes the local host of the computer a web server, meaning that it could serve up information. So on a Windows computer or Mac, I could make my computer a web server. I put the IP address of my computer in an internet search bar, and it will pull up internet content. So that's what they put on your machine without telling you. And when you uninstall the software, it stays there.
It stays there,
with
right?
Everything, yeah. So with everything else Mac related like this, a security researcher discovered this. There's been no known cases of anybody actually exploiting this in the wild. And they fixed it. So these big stories come out with Apple where the FaceTime bug. There was a walkie-talkie bug last week where a similar thing kind of happened, where on the walkie-talkie you could kind of do the same thing, and this kind of thing too. And from the most part, you don't read on Reddit or the internet or anywhere that this affected people, anybody, any humans. No humans said this happened to me. So it's always a researcher discovers it, tell somebody about it. In this case, they came out and told Zoom that they did it,
And
and
that they
basically
had like
said
a
if
certain amount of time before they were going
yeah,
to publicly announce it.
if you don't fix it, I'm kind of call you out on it. And the
Right.
CEO kind of said that thing, and it went from there. Um, it's a shame because I think a lot of people use Zoom. I don't, but I think some people, especially podcasters, right, to
Yeah,
do
well,
video
I had it. I
conferencing.
had it on my machine. As a matter of fact, I think it's still there. I was looking for it last night, and I was like, I should take that off. No, it's still there.
I had it. I think doesn't the Brits use it when we do a podcast with them sometimes? I
Who?
think like Simon and a couple
Oh
of the
no, he
British.
uses Discord.
Okay, yeah, just normally. But I know I had it on there for something or somebody. But in
Right.
any case, I don't think anybody's unhappy with Apple and what they did. There's certainly alternatives out there in the meantime until they get their stuff together. And Windows is unaffected. It's strange. The day this happened, my wife had a video conference, and she's like, "Oh, they sent me this link. It's Zoom something." I'm like, "Well, wait. Windows is fine." So on
But this
Windows,
this
it's not
was
a
this
problem.
wasn't an issue on Windows.
No, just Mac.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
weird. It's usually the other way around.
yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Well,
exactly.
that is all the stories that.
I think I survived so far.
that Rock on. So
Look up. Next week. So next
yeah,
week I'm not here. I'm in
no, it's okay. I won't be
Chicago.
here. I probably won't be here either. Next
We,
Wednesday night, I will be traveling to Chicago for the MacStock Conference and Expo in Woodstock, Illinois, on the 27th
nice.
and 28th, which is like a week and a half away now, not even a week and a half. And if you were planning on going, well, you're running out of time to do that very thing. You can still get tickets. And if you'd like a discount on those tickets, you can use the coupon code MyMacGuy, MyMacGuy, to get discounted tickets for the MacStock Conference and Expo. You'll be able to see me and Tim Robertson and David Cohen and so many of the people that you listen to that are probably gathering more respect than I ever will doing these podcasts. But don't judge me based on this podcast because I actually usually know what I'm doing. Just not on this show.
Don't be don't be so hard on yourself. It's very much, and
It's
not all
just
other podcasts are great.
it's so frustrating. Oh yeah, okay, thanks. Okay, I feel so much better now. So, Warren,
You're okay.
how can people
Yes,
get a hold of you?
I don't.
I know
They
you
might
don't
have to
do that thing.
the face. They could Zoom me.
Yeah, you use Zoom. Find Warren on Zoom.
Zoom.
Pretty much just Facebook.
No, I'm on Facebook. Join the Facebook group, the Next to the Future Facebook group, or just friend me. I friend
Yeah.
anybody. I don't care. Yeah, some dude out in somewhere. I don't know. Whatever. My wife's like, why do you friend everybody? Why do you when they friend you? Why do you
Hey,
accept?
why not?
I'm like, if I accept and they send me a spam message, I get rid of it. And
Yeah.
if I accept and they don't say anything, that's fine. If I accept and whatever. Like, what's the worst that's gonna happen?
Well, yeah, you end up on a podcast.
Yes, this
All
could be
right.
fun.
Speaking of people
How
that are
about you?
usually on this podcast, uh, David
Yeah.
Ginsburg wasn't able to make it. But if you would like to get a hold of him, he's got two different podcasts, the In Touch with iOS and Off the Charts Horse Racing. Both of those are on iTunes, at least for now, until Spotify or Stitcher snag them up. His Twitter name is DaveG65. And of course, you can find out more information about him not only on the Facebooks, but in his websites, intouchwithios.com and offthechartsHorseRacing.com. If you'd like to contact me, I can be contacted via email, guy@mymac.com. Twitter handles are MacParrot and VertShark. What else? I do the MyMac Podcast almost every single weekend. We didn't do one last weekend with Gazmaz. And this weekend will be the last one that we're able to do together before MacStock. So make sure you sign up for that one. And of course, the Mac to the Future live cast that I'm doing right now, and Guy's Daily Drive, which I have been making an effort to do more of lately. All of which can be found over in iTunes under the Guy's Daily Drive RSS feed. So both this show and Guy's Daily Drive audio feeds can be found there. So I think, I think that's about it. Have I covered everything? Oh, patreon.com/MacParrot if you'd like to help support the things that I do. coffeeko-fi.com/MacParrot if you'd like to just do a one-time thing. Any and all support
emoji on here.
would be greatly appreciated. It's not working. I'm not surprised.
Oh wait, here we go. Hold on.
Wait, that's Frank.
Wait, there's got to be a coffee cup in here somewhere.
Yeah, probably. But we're gonna get going. So Warren, before the roof caves in on you.
Oh wait.
You want to say goodnight, Warren?
No, wait. I need 2 seconds.
But you see, it's not coming up, or is it? I don't know if it's coming up or not. Let me do another test. Testy.
Here we go. Coffee.
There we go. Now, where were you able to input that from?
Your page, directly.
My page, for some reason, or maybe I'm just looking at the wrong thing here. That could very well be. And it was. That was the very wrong thing that I was looking at. Okay. Well, anyway,
all right.
Warren, we got to go.
Take cover. Yes, I'm taking cover.
Say goodnight, Warren.
Have fun at Mac stuff.
I am. It's going to be so much fun. Oh, Dave Ginsburg will be there too.
Yeah, I might meet him up in Chicago next week, but I can't make the other thing. So.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Warren.
Bye.
See ya.